Hey guys, what's up? So I wanted to finally give an update about where I am in the labor process. Um, so thank you first and foremost for everybody for your prayers and for checking in on me. And it's been a lot. It's been rough, but childbirth, this comes with the territory. And I know each and every one of you who's had kids has your own story. So real quick, basically what happened was, I don't know, I don't know if a lot of you know, but I've been saying this whole process like I really want to have my baby on May 10th because May 10th is a special day for me. So it's real interesting that the morning of May 10th I was laying in bed. It was Thursday, and I started feeling cramping, and I felt the cramps going on for about 30 minutes, but I didn't want to make it a big deal and like rush to the hospital just because it was the day. I thought maybe I was psyching myself out. So I just stayed in bed, and then I got up and I started cleaning around like 6:30, and they went away. So I thought it was nothing. And I had a scheduled doctor's appointment for that morning at 9:30. So I cleaned up, got ready, and right before we walked out the door, I had to use the bathroom. And I had already used the bathroom, I would say 10-15 minutes prior. And I noticed that I heard something smack into the toilet after I was finished peeing, but I didn't know what it was, and I looked in the toilet and there was nothing there. So I was like, okay, whatever. But right before we left, I used the bathroom and I wiped myself, and it was like bloody mucus. And so I was like, what is this? What's going on? But we're on our way to the doctor, so we'll just figure it out when we get there. So we called, and they said it was probably my mucus plug. So I just got everything that I needed. Thank God I knew it was happening, so I was able to get like pads and stuff. And we headed down to the hospital. And when we got to the hospital, they checked me, and they said I was 1 centimeter dilated, and I had lost my mucus plug. Didn't necessarily mean I was like in active labor, but that the process was getting started. So I was kind of happy, but I didn't want to get my hopes up. But I was happy because I'm like, yo, this is May 10th. So anyway, right before my doctor's appointment ended is when I felt my first actual contraction. It was like, because I had felt mild cramping prior to that, a couple days, but when I felt the actual contraction, it was obvious that it was a contraction. It was just still light. So I felt 2 contractions at the hospital, and we left, and from that point on, I just continued to feel contractions every 3 to 5 minutes. I had my clock timing it, so every 3 to 5 minutes. And I was just like, okay, these are mild, like I can still walk and talk through these. They were just enough for me to be like, let me catch my breath. And I went all day Thursday contracting, and so by Thursday night the contractions felt stronger. So then we came back to the hospital, and this time we actually went to the labor and delivery because we wanted to see if I was actually dilating and if I was actually starting real active labor. They checked me. We were here for like 4 hours, babe. They checked me in the triage room, and the lady said that I was, at that point she said I was 3 centimeters. CJ? 3 centimeters. I think she said I was about 3 centimeters dilated. And so I'm like, okay, yeah, I've made progress, but not enough progress to stay. You have to be 5 centimeters in order to be able to get a room. So she let me walk the halls, and as I walked the halls, I just felt horrible contractions, like enough to where, I was in a lot of pain. And I had every intention on doing this entire thing natural. So I just knew, like, I'm gonna have to rock this out, dance this out, move this out. So every time I felt a contraction, that's just what I did. And it's real annoying that I was contracting so much and not making any progress, because when she checked me again, I was still at 3 centimeters. So she sent me home. Thank God for my friend Deidre and Dwayne, because they let us go to their house and chill. And we just went there, and I just went through the whole night of Thursday just contracting, didn't get any real sleep at all. And the doctor gave me instructions like, if you feel your contractions getting worse, or you get to a point where you feel like you just need to come to the hospital, just come back. So I waited as long as I could, and once I felt at least like 3 contractions in a row that were really, really hard, I was like, let's go. So we came back, and she checked me again that morning, and this is around like 7 a.m. I think, and I was 4 centimeters dilated, 3.5. I think she was being generous. And so I was disappointed, because I'm like, I'm going through all this pain, and I can't stay, and I can't get this process started. So thank God they had mercy on me, and they were just like, we're just gonna keep you, because they knew what I had been going through. And so I got a room, and that was yesterday morning, and came into the room. Contractions continue to increase every 3 to 5 minutes. And now that I'm checked in, it's like I can't eat. I hadn't eaten much prior to that because I figured was hoping I was going into labor soon. And so then I came, and the contractions just continued to get worse and worse and worse. Everybody talks about pain tolerance during the labor process, and I've always thought I had a pretty decent toleration for pain, but it turns out that I don't because I went through all that pain. It got so bad even toward the end that I felt like I was about to have the baby. Like I couldn't imagine the pain getting much worse. And they continued to check me throughout the day, and the most that I dilated was 6 centimeters last night.
4.5.
Oh, 4.5.
Before you got the epidural.
You're right. I only dilated 4.5 centimeters. And so you can imagine like how emotional this was for me, because it just was. So leading up to this point, the doctors had been checking me every couple hours, and they saw I wasn't making progress. So they had already discussed epidural, Pitocin, things they could do to get my labor going. And these are all things like I never planned on getting, never planned on using. So once then, later on in the day came, and I'm been contracting all day, and it's extremely painful. Obviously, my body just doesn't want to get with the program. And so at this point, I'm like considering like, well, what's the, the most natural thing we could do? And she said, well, I could break your water. And so she broke my water. And as soon as she broke my water, well, let's say about 15, 20 minutes after she broke my water, the contractions reached an all-time high. I was doing in this bed what I've only seen women do when they're in full-on labor, 7, 8 centimeters, about to have their baby. And that's exactly what it felt like. Trying to control my breath and trying to do all that, like, that was really, really, really tough for me. And I consider myself a tough person. So at this point, I was talking about the epidural. And I had already told my husband, CJ, like, if I say I want the epidural, don't let me get it, don't let me get it. But I had to consider the fact that I had been laboring already over 24 hours, actually closer to like 35, 40 hours, somewhere around there, and not making much progress. So I had just decided, I don't think I can continue to breathe through this. I haven't eaten, I haven't drank anything, and I don't want to let my baby down by like putting us in an emergency situation if I'm going to have to go through this for like another 24 hours. So I decided to get the epidural, which was definitely not something I ever wanted to get. And it's not that I look down on women who get it. It's just I wanted to, I don't like medicine. I don't respond well to medicine. I wanted to do it natural. And so I just felt like that was the wise thing to do, considering the fact that there's a strong possibility I would eventually need a C-section if my body didn't start responding, and considering the fact that I honestly didn't think I was going to be able to do it. Tolerating the pain was one thing. Breathing through that pain, being awake through that, to be able to actually do it was another thing. So I got the epidural. And since I got the epidural, then it was okay to get the Pitocin because I wasn't going to have to feel the pain of that. So they started that, and that was last night. And I've been continuously making progress at a very, very slow rate, though. Like, it's 12 noon right now, 12:30, and I'm finally at 9 centimeters dilated, but I got the epidural at like 8:30 last night. So I'm really, really close, and I'm hoping that over the next 2 hours I can dilate enough to push my baby out naturally, because that's definitely something I want to do. But if not, then they've discussed a cesarean. So I know I haven't really gotten back to anybody, but it's been a journey. And overall, I thank you for your prayers, and I know that no matter what, my baby's healthy. She's good. Everything's good. I'm healthy. This is not a fun process, but I got my family here, and I got, I have a lot of support. So I just wanted to update you guys and ask that you please pray over these next couple hours. And whatever God decides is what he decides. And I know everything happens for a reason. But please send your prayer requests up for us. I appreciate it. And that's my update.